good evening, guys. Good evening.
Cheers. Thanks for
Good
having
evening.
us.
We should probably rearrange. Let us put the CEO.
Yeah, no worries
You
whatsoever.
yourself in the middle. Hey,
You
Alex.
look the smartest with so many books behind you. Nevertheless, so last emphasis on me and Vladimir.
So, guys, maybe you could introduce yourselves. And I have to admit, up to the last week, I haven't heard of Odys Global.
That's a pity.
Sorry.
That's a pity, yeah. But we will fix somehow. I'm Alex Drew. I'm the founder of Odys Global. It's a domaining company, but not your ordinary domaining company. Our main angle is age domains. So that's slightly different from traditional domaining, which everyone got used to. And I've personally been as an investor in traditional domaining for many years. But Odys Global is a different type of company. Maybe we'll get the chance to talk about that a little bit later. Vladimir is with Odys. Vladimir joined a couple of years back as a copywriter, but he recently ended up handling most of the marketing operations at Odys Global. And that's a funny story, but also a very inspiring and interesting one. And right now, Vladimir is the host of Odys podcast, and he's also managing all our partnerships and partners. And as of recently, he launched a very cool initiative, which we called Odys Talks, which is a live stream, which happens once a week. And that has been very successful, I must admit. And I assume that's probably one of the main reasons why you're doing your own podcast, your own live streams.
Well, I've been doing live streams for domainers for 2 years, something like that, and other live streams for 4 or 5 years. Probably, but definitely one of the inspirations for me were domain Sherpa and Vladimir. Such a great quality of your streams. Seriously.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, and I'm very grateful to Alex and Odys Global for this opportunity, because I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy meeting new people, talking to new people, and I'm really interested and invested into the entire SEO and domain industry. I mean, there's so much to learn, basically every single day. It just keeps amazing me. So yeah.
You should also thank OpenAI for what you're currently doing. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a funny story. I'll quickly cover that. So Vladimir is a great copywriter. And I always joke, basically the switch to podcasting wasn't because of OpenAI, but I constantly joke because AI is in vogue right now. Everyone keeps talking about it. And I constantly joke that Vladimir's career change was because of AI. So everyone's using AI to write content these days. It's not true, because he's still a great copywriter, and it's not that easy to replace a great copywriter.
ChatGPT took away Vladimir's job.
Yeah.
Some of it.
He had to go off. He had to leave his comfort zone and have to advance. Okay, guys, I don't know if you've seen it before, but so in our live stream, what we do, we are able to pull up comments. Can you see them? Yes.
Yep.
So a domainer, Joe from London, from
Hello,
Richmond.
Joe.
Hey, Joe. And Sam Charles says he hasn't heard of you guys neither. Let me a quick intro of Sam. Sam a while ago was LLL King, so 3-letter .co.uk King, one of the most well-known UK brokers and domain investors. And he is actually quite big into SEO domain names, something that I have never understood. So now we have a chance.
Yeah, and there's a completely different world of domains, but nevertheless, there are a lot of tangencies. Because a domain name is a domain name after all. It all starts with the domain name. So when somebody asks me what's the internet all about, like I joke, it's hosting and domains. That's it. Nothing else, just hosting and domains. So this is the core of the web. And as of lately, maybe blockchain technology as well. Yeah. Anyway, first of all, Sam, if you have an interesting portfolio which is for sale, you can go to sell.odys.global and try to list it for sale. We're constantly looking for new inventory. Literally, we have over 25,000 hungry buyers waiting to buy domains with SEO value. And the main problem with traditional domaining is that it's basically due diligence. Yeah, okay. So before age domain got popular, and I'd say they got very popular maybe 3 to 4 years ago. Until then, SEO domains was basically associated with domains with keywords in the name, because apparently you could rank easy in Google. But
yes,
somehow is true, but not entirely. That's because there is much more to it. And most importantly, some of the names throughout that lifetime, they harness links. And those links are the core foundation of ranking in Google, because Google's algo hasn't changed since 2003. It's still based on PageRank. And PageRank means all the incoming links that point to your website. And there is a distinct advantage in building a brand, a website, whatever startup you have in mind, on a domain that is powered by relevant links. It could be your former competitor, it could be any brand. But if you can actually match that, if you can match an idea with a great age domain that also has a great name, that is powered by link, and most importantly, which is spam-free, clean, hasn't been exposed to any funky stuff historically, hasn't been hacked, Google trusts it, then you can literally rank overnight. And obviously, there are a few tricks to pull, which can help you rank in weeks, not months, and not years, but it's possible. And the main constraint is inventory. So there is not enough inventory. So if you'd like to launch a business in the, let's say, a coffee machine review website, like a content website, like you're a big fan of coffee, and you really know lots about coffee machines, and you'd say, Alex, can I go to your marketplace and buy a coffee machine domain? I'd say no. Why? We don't have inventory. Like, if we get any legitimate coffee-related domain that has history of a coffee-related business, that's not a trademark, that can be freely used, I mean, I have hundreds, like literally hundreds of buyers waiting to buy it right away. So it doesn't even reach the marketplace. So the demand is huge, and it ended up being an aftermarket of its own. That's why you're seeing, for the past several years, for instance, even GoDaddy, they started pulling more data in their auctions. They're now displaying the age of the domains. They're linking to archive.org. They're putting so much data on the backlink profile and the historical records of the domain. So people have understood that the industry is just growing. It's not going anywhere. And in fact, as the creator economy is growing and more people are into putting their content online, everyone wants to know, how can I get more exposure faster? And with SEO and SEO domains, one of the ways is to pick a domain that isn't there for just a week or two. It's been there for a while, and it has intrinsic value, and not just the name, but the links as well.
Okay, Sam is asking, and so we have people watching, people start joining in. Please start asking your questions if you're happy about asking it. So how about wine-related domain name?
Yeah, we do have a few. Yes, in fact, I think we have like maybe 20, 30 wine-related domain names. Obviously, if you want to start a wine-related business and you haven't picked a name yet, like, you can pick a name. Our thing, as of lately, is combining brandable names, any names that aren't trademarks and you can use to launch a new business, with names that have SEO value, meaning intrinsic value, and backlinks. Those backlinks carry weight. Those backlinks, most of the time, they do carry traffic as well. So they act as referral links. And most likely, we're not looking at any type of links. So it can be a link or on NewYorkTimes.com or on The Guardian or on BBC, which is a huge trust signal for Google. Absolutely. And that's something that most of the time we claim that those are impossible to replicate links. So they are almost impossible to buy if you would launch an outreach campaign or hire an agency to get you those links, or like a PR campaign.
So how does it happen? Where do you get these domain names? So let us say you have 20 buyers for coffee domains. So where would you look for such a domain? Where would you stumble upon one?
Well, there are multiple sources. One of the main sources are our members. That's slowly becoming one of the main sources of domains. We recently reached out, I think, around 100 new submissions a day, and that's pretty big achievement for us. Back in the day, we used to buy mainly from auctions and from other investors, but it was mainly auctions. And the process of filtering, let's say you take GoDaddy's auction and you end up with, I don't know, based on the minimum SEO metrics, you'd get, let's say, at least 5,000 domain names a day. And then we have our team who goes through each one of them individually, and they just weed out the spam, without any of the bad stuff. And let's say we end up with a list of 300 domains. And then from among those 300 domains, we try to match them with buyers and look for good inventory. And we end up bidding on 20, 30 domains, and we end up buying, 5 domains a day. And, throughout the last 5 years, so we've managed to harness around 1,000 of good quality H domains that we own as our inventory. And that has been like the basis of the marketplace that we started. And recently, we have around 1,000, maybe 1,200 names in the marketplace, and those are around 80% of those are ours, and as of recently 20% are third-party domain names that investors just like you may list for sale if they pass our due diligence, of course.
And what are the prices? My apologies, Vladimir, maybe you can jump in. What are the prices? Of course, Alex knows more. He's the founder. Come on, that's his baby.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on each particular domain, its name, its metrics, the backlink profile. Some of them are priced for a few $100s, but we also have like some really expensive stuff. Like there was this domain which was initially bought from us, but then the buyer resold it through our platform, and so the buyer resold it for $70,000, I think.
No, it was 40. It was 40,000.
40. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I apologize. $40,000. Yeah, and we also have this Wario.com, right? Which is about
it's just a brandable name,
almost
but
about 3 million.
Wario.com. Oh God. Okay.
Wario.com.
Yes, like Warrior Forum. Yes.
Which costs about $3 million, I think.
Yeah, that's an emotional that's an emotional price setting from me.
So yeah, it's really so it's really varied in our marketplace.
Okay, why 3 million is emotional for you?
Well, let's say that. Let me give you an example. So we operate on Odys.global, and I had this global thing in mind for quite some time. So it kind of resonated, and I'm also a .com guy. So if I find any good domain in .com, I'll get it. I want it. Like .com is king. Don't try to convince me of any other. Even though Threads.net is popular, like .com is still king. And I've been trying to buy Odys.com from this American gentleman who has owned it since 1996. And in 1996, he apparently had a web design agency named Odyssey Internet Services. Now, I've been trying to reach out to him and to make him offers for at least 3 years. And initially, he replied to some of my texts and emails. And as of recently, he said, that's my baby. I won't let, I'll die with this domain. So sometimes you don't want to sell and you don't want to be rude. You just set exaggerated pricing to some of your domains. Now that was a joke with the higher price domain. It was basically initially we were after brandable domain names with SEO value, and then we decided we have some inventory that is not that brandable, but carries SEO value. So it can be I'd say there is some gibberish domain names, but it has great SEO value. Like those are good for redirects. And we say we're going to launch like a clone of the marketplace, and we're going to call it Warrior. So I just didn't want that domain to just sit around. I've listed it in the marketplace because it also has SEO value. And I said, well, let's price it very high. If someone is interested, we'll obviously negotiate, but let it just be there because we don't want to sell it.
Wow. No, that's a brilliant name. That is a brilliant name. Joe is asking, which is your preferred software to check number of backlinks and quality of links? Okay.
We're a big fan of
for Alex.
Yeah, we're a big fan of Ahrefs. That's the Singaporean company. Ahrefs. We've used Majestic. We still use Majestic, which is a British company, which is to use, and we also use Moz.com and SEMrush. But we are big fans of Ahrefs. We even have, I believe, we have a legacy account. That's the old type of accounts that they launched in 2014. So it's been quite a ride with them. I think they're just the best. We check all resources. For instance, I'll give you an example. If you go to Ahrefs and check the backlink profile of hostmaria.com, which is your hosting brand, right?
Yes.
You may see, they may report like the domain name has 50 unique referring domains. So 50 other unique websites are linking to your site. However, if you go to Majestic, they might say, well, 67 are linking to your website. And if you go to Moz, which is the American company, they used to be called Moz SEO, now they're Moz, they say, well, only 47. And so who's right? So most of the time, obviously, the company that reports most links is the one that has best crawlers. But sometimes what we used to do is we used to export the backlink profiles from all companies and just would remove duplicates to see the total number of backlinks. That's because, well, obviously, Google knows everything. Like all these companies, they just try to replicate what Google can in terms of crawling. But most of the time, you need to look into several places to check the backlink. So if you're a domaining company with an SEO background like us, you'd want to have accounts with all of them. If you're just getting started and let's say you're doing your due diligence before buying a domain and you simply want to check, like, has this domain been spammed in the past? Does it have like Viagra backlinks all over the place? You just go to Ahrefs and you pull it in. Because sometimes that may be a turnoff. Especially now, I see more and more domainers are being educated on the, I'd say, dangers of buying even a great brandable name. Let's say you buy insurance.com, like huge domain name, and it's spammed to death. Like it has 3 million bad backlinks. Well, if you're using someone to broker the deal, and that someone is aware of the SEO, of how dangerous that can be for SEO and how complicated to get out of that penalty can be, well, they will raise some awareness and that will tell you. So I believe for beginners, Ahrefs is a great tool to get started.
Okay. And still not the cheapest one. And
yeah.
And what would be on the budget side?
In terms of domains?
In terms of checking backlinks.
So are you talking about Ahrefs accounts?
Yes, well, Ahrefs are not cheap, yes?
Yeah, I believe they're like the basic package. I think we're using like an agency one. Obviously,
yes.
I think we pay like several $100s, like $500 a month. Yeah. But the basic ones, I think they have like a free backlink checker, which is enough. Yes. If you're not checking too many domains, you can use it. They will display the top 20 links. Most of the domains out there don't have links. I've personally gone through thousands of domains that are listed in brandable marketplaces like BrandBucket, Squad Help, for instance, and 99% of them don't have backlinks. So you can use the free backlink checker. When you trim down to SEO domains, then it gets complicated. Then when you need more data, and obviously you have to pay for for a paid account to have access to all the backlinks that a domain has.
And Alex, I understand that you've been in domains for a long time, have you?
Yeah, I've actually. I was going through your bio, and you mentioned building the first website in 1999, and that's probably when I started building websites as well. I think it was 2001 for me.
Okay.
I was using a software called NetObjects Fusion. It was different from FrontPage. I don't know if you remember FrontPage. FrontPage.
Oh, I definitely do remember it. Yes.
The HTML editor. Well, yes. NetObjects Fusion was a US-based software company that developed the software. They're still around, I think, but the main difference, it was drag and drop. And I'm not too tech savvy, so I could just drag and drop, elements on a page, and I could build websites. So I remember registering my first domain names in around 2001.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, lack of awareness of what the domain industry might come to didn't push me to register some of the best domains that were still available back then. I would have had a lot of great names by now.
Guys, do you wish who's got the best connection? Okay, Vladimir, your connection is dropping. Alex, maybe would you like to share your screen? Look, advertise Odys.
Yeah.
As much as you wish to, really, just go for it. Those who are watching, I do these live streams. I'm the founder of hostmary.com, also the founder of London Domain Summit and owner of dnforum.com and acondomains.co.uk. And I do these live streams just because I really like the domain industry. I really find joy in this one, and companies and individuals who are invited to these live streams are invited free of charge, and they can advertise as much as they wish to. And the other reason why I'm asking to share the screen is an ordinary person cannot just peek in. They need to create an account, or even more, they need an invite.
Yeah, so I'll quickly cover that, and then in fact, I believe Vladimir can cover that, because the request access feature was specifically meant to build a community and not just provide a service. That's because that's the whole philosophy behind that.
Yeah, well, there are no like special requirements for new members to join. Okay, obviously you cannot just go to the marketplace and
Sorry,
browse
sorry. A
the
quick question.
inventory.
My apologies. Alex, can you?
Sure.
We have private chat.
Yep.
Can you type in there your URL? I will copy paste it and put it in the chat that everybody can check it while Vlad is.
Yeah, but it says sending messages is only supported for hosts.
No. In private, there is a
all right.
stream and private.
All right.
Thank you. Go on, Vlad. My
Okay.
apologies.
Yeah. So yeah, you cannot if you do not have already do not have the access to the marketplace, you cannot just go and browse the inventory. But you can apply for an account and simply just state the source that you found out about the marketplace and the reason why you want to join. So these are the only like requirements on our side, which are pretty simple. We just want as Alex mentioned, to build a community. So, and that requires people to at least understand why they're joining, and yeah, to be honest about it. So even if you just learned about it from a friend and just want to look around and maybe spot a great domain name, that's enough for us. So there's nothing special. There's just this tiny little step that shows some dedication from the side of a new member. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alex?
You can obviously mention Helmuts, you can mention host Maria. So if you mention, I've heard about you on the live stream,
Absolutely.
really keen to see the inventory, or I've heard about you on the live stream, really, I have some inventory that I think you can list for sale in the marketplace. That would be enough, but at least we have to know there has to be some connection. We'd rather have, so right now I think we have more than 25,000 members, but we'd rather have, and obviously that has been built throughout the last, so we officially launched the marketplace in 2019, but around 5,000 of those are my own network. So I've personally onboarded those throughout the first year or two. So that has been organic growth in a way, but I'd rather have existing members invite their friends, explain the benefits. I'd rather have myself and my team make ourselves available through strategy calls, help you out with your venture, help you out get started, get you results, and have you come back for more, make you an ambassador, then simply go for volume. I don't need 100,000 members on the platform right now. I simply do not. I'd rather create more success story among the existing members. And one of the latest success story, before I share my screen, and if you allow me,
of course,
so we had this idea. I've been probably one of the few people that actually had the vision and could jump on strategy calls. And obviously that gets quite exhausting if you make only yourself available, those who are able to combine, the best of two worlds. And I said, well, I need help. And guess basically the only thing I could think of, let me send an email to our members and see who'd be able to join and start offering the same help that I do, the strategy calls. And we got around 100 replies in the first hour. And we ended up interviewing around 50, and we hired, it's not like a full-time hire, but it's a partnership, 10 mentors. And now we ended up with 5. Some of them had to leave, and we call the program Odys Mentors. I'll share the screen in a moment. I'll explain how that works. And the reason I believe those mentors have the mentorship rights, so to speak. First of all, they come from the ranks of our members. They have joined the platform. They have bought domains. They have built successful businesses on those domains. They have flipped or else sold the domains. They have made money with those domains. They know how it works. They understand age domains. So they have skin in the game. They have already done that. So now they can teach because they have already done that. And we came up with the Odys Mentors program, and now I think we have 7 active mentors. We'll end up with 5 most likely, but we have 7 active mentors, and those are people who are keen to jump on a call. And I'll share the user interface in a moment, but that's another success story. And that's why community building a network is really, really important. And obviously it has almost become a cliche, but your network is your net worth. So it's obviously,
that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
And it seems your daily traffic is around 1,500 users, yes? 1,000 to 1,500 users.
Well, it really depends which one, because if you're looking at the website traffic, it may be accurate. I haven't checked analytics for quite some time. I'm focused on delivering value. I'm not a refresh analytics guy.
Okay.
And but in terms of daily active members in the marketplace on the buyer side, so I think at least 500 daily active members. And I don't track sellers because we have so many of them. I haven't tracked, like, we have to build more streamlined systems and lean systems, right? We have just too many submitted domains, and we can call that has become a constraint lately, and we're trying to figure out on the seller side. So inventory is no longer an issue, at least, yeah. And Vladimir has been great, got the philosophy that I had in mind and the vision of building a network. And that's what we're trying to do with Odys Talks. We're trying to bring people together. We're trying to bring awesome people together and to spread the word and just to create awesome business relationships among people. And just to, in this world, I don't believe in or, I believe in and. So you can be successful, and Vladimir can be successful, and I can be successful, and Sam can be successful, and everyone can be successful in the community. So there is space for everyone to be successful, and most importantly to promote each other, encourage each other, support each other. And that's what we're trying to do. And as of recently, I've just discovered how awesome putting yourself out there through this live stream really is. So yeah, I do like what you're doing here. And that's really funny, because one would think, like, how would you build a community around a hosting company? Like, you can't really do that. Apparently you can, and Helmuts has proven it.
Apparently you can. So you do live streams about domain names. Yes, shall we start sharing the screen?
Yeah, just a moment. Let me try to...
Let us jump in.
Right, I have to... Just a moment.
Yeah, and speaking of Odys mentors, while Alex is figuring out, every Odys Talks live stream also features one of the Odys mentors, where they also share their experience, their perspectives on things. So we talk a lot about SEO, affiliate marketing, naturally, because most of our participants are affiliate marketers and niche site builders. They have this authority to mentor other people, to help them find the right angles. Concerning building sites and getting great results, like building money sites. And they're featured in every Odys Talks episode. And there's one part of our live stream where we just pretty much dissect one of the domains from our marketplace, and so the participants just take their time to take a look at the domain, its metrics, everything, and then just share their thoughts, what they think that particular domain could be used for, how it could be monetized. And there was an episode with Jason Mills of the Affiliate School, and he did just a brilliant thing. He just shared his screen during the live stream and pretty much spent about 4 or 5 minutes covering all the domain perspectives, just pretty much did a live domain growth blueprint, and it was just brilliant. One of my favorite moments of all the live streams. So just welcome to live streams. And
I just put it back. I changed the background, and
awesome.
Let's dive into money. Yes,
I hope you'll be able to join our live streams maybe next month or in September, as soon as Vladimir can book you for the show. All right, so let me know if you can see the screen. So that's basically the brand itself. The slogan, kickstart your website with domain that aged well, progressed throughout time. There have been different ones, but basically everyone in the industry is pretty much used to the term expired domains. I think that expired domains has a negative connotation, mainly because with what we have in mind and our philosophy towards domains. So we've replaced that initially with aged domains, and then it got copied pretty fast by some of our competitors. And then we decided that we'll slightly tweak that in the direction of domains that aged well. And as of recently, since we started accepting websites as well. So if you have a domain for sale, and it happens to have a website, we'd most likely insist that you leave the website on as well. That can be an incentive for the buyer, especially in the SEO world. So that's the website, that's the concept. As of recently, it's a two-sided marketplace. It's not just a shop. Now we can both buy and sell domains. You can submit your domains for sale. I'd like to cover the sell page because I believe your audience is mostly domain investors who do have inventory. So there is most of our domain names sell within the first 6 months. There is around a 37 sell-through rate, which I believe, based on the data that I have, it's pretty good compared to other brandable domain marketplaces out there. We also try to keep our inventory pretty much curated, and we always only accept domains that we know have a high chance of selling. So we're not interested to have a million domains for sale. We're not den.com. We don't have any listing fees. We also we don't have any listing fees. So if your domain gets accepted, there are a couple of premium ways to get it promoted through the marketplace, like to our database, entire database, like 25,000 members. Then there are like premium spots which you can rent and buy, but there are no listing fees. So we'll offer you a domain appraisal. We've came up with a pricing strategy and evaluation for domains based both on the name value as well as on the link value and SEO value. That's also important. That's part of the intrinsic value for domain. Obviously, we offer all the support you may need. And it's really easy. We'll only charge commission when it sells. We're looking for premium names. So the better the domain sounds, the higher the chance it will sell. Obviously, spam free. Sometimes you can have great names, but given our audience or most of our members have SEO somewhere in their strategy, if they see even the best domain in the world, so they will trade the best domain in the world for a spam-free domain. Obviously, no trademarks, and the most important part, which basically helps generate that 37 sell-through rate for domains, is the built-in SEO part. And obviously, you submit the domains, they sell. We'll do our best to promote them through different channels, and you can cash out.
Alex, and a quick question. So no listing fees, and what is the fee on after the sale?
Yeah, I just wanted to cover that. So that was right after. So we have slightly varied, let's say, so domains price up to $5,000, there's a 30% commission on that. Okay. Then those between $5,000 and $50,000, we charge a 25% commission, and those $15,000 and up, only 20%. The thing is, it's a very, very, very targeted community. So literally, we end up talking with our members on a daily basis. So it's a very inactive community. And as said, like, I don't have like the information or the intelligence or the data of how long does it take to sell domains through other marketplaces, but based on our own inventory that is listed in other marketplaces, both for testing purposes and as well just for exposure, like I haven't witnessed a sell-through rate that happens within the first 3 to 6 months. So we've decided that would be fair. So we came up, and it's somehow competitive in a way. I mean, in comparison with the brandable marketplaces out there, I won't mention any names, but it's relatively similar, I'd say.
Okay.
Right. So let me go back, and now I'll try to log in. First of all, the request access. So you click on request access in the top right corner of the screen, and all you have to do is mention your name, your last name, your email. The phone number is optional, but sometimes it may be necessary, especially if you're a seller. Sometimes we end up selling your domains, and then you may be on vacation, you may be chilling somewhere, and there is no way to reach you out. And if you cannot transfer the domain name fast enough, the buyer may get pissed off a little bit. So having your phone number or file and having some of our account manager give you a quick call, inform you that's been a sale, is always handy. And obviously what Vladimir mentioned, why would you like to join Odys? And how do you discover Odys? So usually you could mention, for instance, if there is someone joining right now or applying for an account, given they discovered us via your live stream, they could mention host Maria, or they could mention your name here. I mean, that would work. You tick the boxes and you request access. And usually we get back in less than 24 hours. There should be like a legitimate reason. If you write something offensive there, your account will get rejected. If you write something like, I don't know, then obviously your account will get rejected. Like literally, we want to work with people who are at least somehow aware of what's going on. And obviously, if you have an account, you log into the marketplace. I'll try to remember my password. That's on a different browser. For some reason, your live stream forced me to use Chrome. I usually use Safari.
Oh, okay.
And that's a mental challenge right now for me. Yes.
Bang, good job.
Yes. Yes, I remember the password.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's the basic user interface for the marketplace. So it's a private one. It's not available. Search engines cannot crawl it. We made that with two main reasons. The first one was mainly because the marketplace itself was managed to have this community vibe around it. And second of all, these domains being SEO domain names, in a way we didn't quite want. Well, there are still some risks associated with anyone copying the entire database of domain names, but still we didn't want just for crawlers to randomly crawl our domain names and maybe even create some bad backlinks around them. So we decided to keep the marketplace at least semi-private. So as you join, you can start seeing the recently added domains. There are a lot of filters. Right now, since we've started adding different type of inventory, you have age domains. So age domains are basically any domain names that have link value. And usually that link value is reflected in the cart of a domain by looking at the referring domain. So any domain with referring domains. So if you tick age domains, you're going to see just domains with have backlink value. And I'll get to that in a moment. Then you have like premium names. Those we don't have too many right now. We've just opened, let's say, the gates of premium domain names, and mostly because as most domainers, they have lots of inventory. And if we end up allowing all domains that qualify as premium, maybe oneword.com or even twowords.com, like solarenergy.com, I believe Elliot Silver from domaininvesting.com recently reported this. So even those like twowords.com and even sometimes threewords.com or even brandable, pronounceable. So we have backlink.gp, which is a ccTLD, obviously, but it's a pretty good name for an agency that most likely will be into the backlink selling in Japan. And obviously we have websites. So if you have a domain name and that domain name happens to have a website on, maybe your former blog that you're no longer interested in, just simply want to sell it, it would be easier to sell it with the blog left on the website. So if it passes our due diligence, we're most likely going to ask you to keep the website on unless you have some privacy concerns and want to remove it. Lots of industries here, from kids, toys, health, local real estate, career jobs, to I think we have around 59 industries. I'll just make my screen smaller so I can go through the industries. Yeah. There's a little bit of work here, maybe some can do. We have both industries and sub-industries. For instance, in home, we might have home renovation, furniture, home improvement, architecture, housing, bathroom. So it really depends on the type of domain and how we manage to actually categorize it in the market. Other important filter is obviously age, but since most of the domains are age, that was mostly a request from our members. I do not think, because so an age domain can be considered any domain after its first year of life cycle. So you can register a brand new domain, do great marketing, harness lots of value with the domain in terms of backlinks, and by the end of the first year, maybe you've bankrupted as a business, but there you now have this great domain name with lots of backlinks. And let's say it was you've launched an app in the housing or real estate business, and now you have a real estate domain powered by lots of backlinks from the industry's top websites, and that domain can value a lot of money. Obviously, the language, and that is usually refers to both the language of the domain as well as the language of the former website, because sometimes you can have domains that end in .it, which stands for Italian, but there actually can be an English website. This one, for example, Tartarughe, which means turtle in Italian, .info, it is a former Italian domain, yet the language of the former website is Italian. But we also have conspiracy.it, which is an Italian domain, but the former website was English. So it really depends which market you're after. Now, let's say you have a hosting-related business that let's say it used to operate on a .co.uk domain, and we have someone who's thinking of starting a hosting business or maybe a hosting review website. Most likely our members aren't trying to start like real brick and mortar businesses. They're more after like review sites, content websites, anything that you can launch, let's say, with just a couple $1,000. And most of the time it starts with a domain name. So they will be looking at the market. So if they're looking to literally attack the English market, like the .co.uk market, then obviously they'd be looking for your domain because it kind of resembles it. It will be privileged. It will have an advantage in google.co.uk in that specific data center. DR stands for domain rank, and it is logarithmic, so it's from 0 to 100, and we pull that via Ahrefs API. So obviously, google.com, I think it's DR 100. Like youtube.com, I think it's DR 99 or something. So the highest authority websites on the web. DR is sort of like, they've tried to somehow resemble the authority of websites. Yeah, Ahrefs via DR. Moz, the American company, Moz, they have DA, which stands for domain authority. And Majestic, which is a British company, I think they had, I'm not entirely sure, but I think they have like this thing called trust flow and citation flow, but it stands more for quality rather than I don't think they have a metric for like the overall authority of the domain. But I believe the most accurate these days is still domain rank, because domain rank is able to somehow ignore spammy links and focus on links that come from trustworthy websites, which most of the time are just big newspapers and universities and any websites with high authority. We've also recently added earnings and pricing USD. So if your domain name happens to be a website and it's making some money, maybe we will most likely reflect it in here. So if you're looking to buy a money-making website, you'll be able to filter it through. And we're also planning to launch selling domain names that end up making money by being parked. So let's say you may have a good domain name that makes money while being parked and you want to sell that for a multiple. You could obviously report the earnings, and we'll be able, I think we'll work with one of the parking companies here. We have a partnership cooking in the works. And
which company?
I'm not allowed to name the company because the agreement has not been signed yet. But okay. One of the parking companies out there.
One of the big ones, or
one of the big ones, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have a website, if you have a domain that's parked and making money, and you want to sell it for a multiple, and usually, like I've discovered that there is an actual multiple for domain names, and not only portfolios. Like there can be just one domain name, and you can prove that it has an earning history. You can show the earnings for the last 3 to 6 months, maybe a year. There are buyers, and some of our members, in my marketplace are investors, so they're looking for money-making assets. Either it's a domain or a website or anything that generate cash flow. So they would buy that right away as well. Now, in terms of domain names, we've gone the extra mile to not only display the domain name in a nice card, but we've gone the extra mile to create an actual logo. And most of the time, that logo is meant to help you visualize whatever may be possible to create on the website. I mean, let's say smoke is history. As far as I know, this domain is a former domain of a blogger that used to review various smokers, like barbecue stuff, grills. So, and
okay, those ones. Okay.
Yeah. So, but most of the time, like the goal with the logo is just to help you visualize, or at least give you that initial. And most of the time, we've offer like in high quality, in vector quality, the logos after your purchase. So if you literally we can help you like launch the website in 1 hour after buying the domain name. We can also help you on the hosting side of things, even though we're not trying to compete with any other hosting companies, because it's a very tough business. You can talk about it all day probably because you've been in hosting for so long, but we're just trying to help whoever wants to launch a website really fast. And sometimes even providing the logo, if they can take the logo that you've already created and they can upload it to their website, that's a huge time saver versus going to, any, like even Fiverr and paying $5 to have a logo created. They can take some time. So the quicker we can actually help them get started, the better. Now, the domain cards are meant to provide some basic intelligence, as I call it, on the domain side of things and allow you to compare. So for instance, if I'm looking at domain name, let's go after domain names in the, let's pick any niche. Let's pick barbecue. Let's see if we have anything in the barbecue niche. We have this grill domain. Let's see one of the scarce niches as well. I'd say let's go after, let's say, gaming. And the basic keyword. Let's take gaming, for instance. So we have poweredplay.net, we have Secret Happy Night, and this domain that is basically just numbers. Now, when it comes to SEO, most people are looking at a couple of things here. So they will be looking at domain rank, and they will try to compare the domain rank, and they will be looking at the referring domains. And the referring domains is basically the number of authority websites that link to your domain name. So let's say we pick like this random domains, which is, from a naming point of view, it has very little value, like almost no value from a naming point of view. Literally, it doesn't tell you anything. There are no keywords here. But let's click on it and let's see how we tackle each individual domain name. So these days, we will have like this basic logo here. This will change soon. Now, as you scroll down, you will literally have the opportunity to see some of the best links the domain has. Some of these representations are lacking. It's a technicality, but most of the time, and I'll try to cover some other domains. Let's go to Smokers History, for instance. We'll try to basically create like this solar system type of visual approach. By the way, we got this, I believe we got this idea from SimilarWeb, like one of the former websites had this nice visual representation on their front page, and I found that very intriguing. And I said, we have to build something similar. So it allows you to understand. So here you are trying to bind this domain. You are aiming to start a review website, a content review website, a content media website, right? In the barbecue, grilling, smokers industry. Maybe you're a big fan and this is all you do all day. And now you have a visual representation. And this is really helpful, especially for beginners, because advanced folks, they basically take the domain and they pull it and they search and they go to Ahrefs right away and they check the backlinks and all the authority links. But if you're just starting out, you don't have access. This allows you to have at least some understanding that this domain has been featured in New York Times. This domain and still has a link from New York Times. This domain has been featured in Reason.com, Business Insider, Before It's News, and all these are relatively big authority websites that still have active links pointing to the domain that you are aiming to buy. Now, as you scroll down, this is a recently implemented feature. It doesn't have all the traffic, but most of the domain names have some trickle traffic. Some have more, some have less traffic, but some of them do have traffic, and we'll also start adding it by source. And then you start going through the actual, some of the metrics. I believe our domain publishing team they have a misunderstanding here, because this one is not related to CBD. This one is related to smokers. But nevertheless, you'll have the year registered, the language, the domain rank, the total number of referring domains. Please note that we're somehow showing here just the highest authority links, but the domain itself is powered by over 500 unique referring domains. The total number of authority links and indexed pages. Why this is important? You really want these domain names to be indexed in Google. That's something that's of huge importance if you want to use age domains to your advantage. That's because there is one thing called domain age, which plays a significant role in SEO, and another thing is site age. So site age is important. So we have our own type of landing pages, which are meant to keep these domain names indexed in Google. So for instance, let me show you one of them. And they also, since most of these domain names have, so this one doesn't serve it yet. Let me just try to get another one. Let's take this Japanese domain. Yeah, so this is an Odys landing page, which allows you to, just go through, read basically.
Sorry, I can't see it.
Yeah. It still shows the marketplace page.
I see. I see. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it might be lagging. This is like our own landing page.
Yes.
The goal of this landing page is to somehow showcase the domain name, the pricing, allows you to log in or to create an account, and briefly goes over what premium age domains are. We mentioned that these are usually seen in high authority website. We show the age, some of the traffic and SEO metrics here. We even have like the majestic modes and DR here, like the old school metrics. So all of them are here. And this page is meant to keep the domain name index. So if you're just parking the domain name.
I see.
So from an SEO point of view, a parked domain brings absolutely zero value to the visitor. And Google hates parked domain names. Now, they do keep some indexed, mainly those that have super high authority, and they still want to show. So they think that if they remove it from the index, it will not tell the right story to the user. So the user has to know that the business has gone bankrupt or offline or is no longer serving the website. So only for high authority domains. If your domain name is not like super high authority, then they will de-index it if it's just serving parked ads. So our goal is to keep it indexed. Our goal is not to monetize this particular page and to keep it in. We have a little bit of unique content here, which says it's a former one-word brandable.com domain. And basically, we have like a little description of the former domain, and that serves as unique content. Also, some of other content on the page that allows us to keep the domain name index. So that might lack a little bit, but if you go to google.com and you Google the domain, you will see that it's indexed. Sometimes we might even recreate some of the former inner pages. As you can see here, we have two other pages which are indexed. But
I think, Alex, I think you are sharing a tab. And while you are, I think you started sharing a tab, and that is all that we see.
All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm back. Anyway, the goal of having
that's fine. That's fine. Yes.
The goal of having that unique landing page is sort of like a landing page that we developed is to keep the domain name indexed, and very few companies do that. In fact, that's not something that is too often in the, let's say, traditional domaining world. Like some of the Afternic, Dan.com, even Cedo domain pages landing pages, they might get indexed and stay indexed, but there is no guarantee. When SEOs buy a domain with SEO in mind, they obviously want to see that domain indexed. They find that very valuable, and that's for a reason, because it is valuable. So more or less, right now we have 1,100 results, 1,800.
Can I quickly ask you, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
There are two different things. So a person is buying a SEO domain to be redirected.
Yeah.
Yes. To boost authority of his main business website.
Yeah.
How does he keep the domain still, or the site still indexed and still redirected?
All right, so I'll probably...
It is either live or it is either 301, 302. So
yeah, so
which one is it?
I'll probably cover the entire methodology right now.
Thank
it
you.
will only take me a minute or so, but
that's great.
So you own hostmaria.com, right?
Yes.
I assume you have some Google traffic. Most likely you're ranking for some long-tail keywords, or maybe even you're ranking for some big keywords. I don't know. Like I'll check your website in Ahrefs after this live stream. But let's assume you want to, and basically, if you want to rank high in Google these days, you need two things. You need domain authority, you need topical authority. And with topical authority means you need to have content on the website, and lots of content on topics that are relevant to your business. So in your case, it would be, let's say, cloud hosting, for instance, or dedicated servers. Let's say dedicated servers is a topic. So in order to rank for dedicated servers, you need lots of dedicated service-related content. Now, imagine we have a dedicated servers-related domain in the marketplace, which is the former, like ideally you want dedicatedservers.com, but since we're tackling the SEO perspective and not the naming perspective of the domain, let's say we have dedicated123.com, which is a former domain of a dedicated service company that they could have either rebranded or they gone out of business, they went bust. Anything can happen, life can happen, right? Absolutely. So now you're looking at this domain and you're asking, how can I use this domain to my advantage? How can I use this domain? Like I'm selling dedicated servers with Host Maria. How can I use dedicated 123, for instance, to boost my website's authority? And let's assume, are you still seeing my screen?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Let me try. I think we can have some hosting related domains. I'm not sure. For some reason, it doesn't show me any hosting domain, but I believe we do have some. Let me try to actually go to, well, let me see if we have, let me try to, yeah, I think we have one. Yeah, Hexatia. What? So the name itself doesn't really matter, but it's a former domain, I assume, of a hosting company. Yeah, something related to data security, cloud deployment topics. So obviously, yeah, so they have links from lots of interesting websites, but let's assume this was a former website of a hosting company. Now you'd think, how can I use this to my advantage? And obviously, and it even has some traffic, which is interesting, some trickle traffic. Well, it's powered by over 147 unique referring domain names. Now, if you were to hire an SEO agency to build you 147 unique high quality links, that would probably cost you a minimum of $150 to $200 per link. So you have to pay. And that's a minimum, because this particular domain has a link from timesofisrael.com, which I believe is like an Israeli newspaper.
Yes.
If you were to try to outreach to someone on that newspaper, you'd probably have to pay thousands of dollars to just get to be featured at once. With this domain, you pay the price of the domain, you get all this links. So you take this domain. Now, beginners, they don't know this, so they would just redirect it to the homepage of hostmaria.com. But when Google recrawls hexatia.com, they will try to figure out what on earth that hexatia.com has to do with hostmaria.com.
Okay.
In which case, that's probably not the best way to do it. The best way to do it would be to buy this domain and to deploy a quick WordPress website. Like, it can be WordPress, it can be an HTML page, and to ask ChatGPT, or maybe if you're still fond of writing, to write a press release announcing that Host Maria has strategically acquired hexatia.com in an attempt to gain more market share in the dedicated servers space. And you leave that until Google indexes the page. Now, there are some really minor technical details here, but they make a huge difference. And if done right, you can literally end up in several weeks with a huge jump in your backlink popularity and all the keywords that you're ranking for on page 2 or bottom page 1 in top 3, literally by doing this. So
wow, I have never heard this approach.
What you do next,
and I've been in SEO as well for a long
time.
So
this is just, I wouldn't call it a hack, but it's a reality, and it happens, and it's possible because companies get acquired and bought and merged every single day. And if they're managed by a relatively smart company, let's say you are handling the migration and the redirect of the former company or the companies that merge, you'll do this the right way. So after Google has indexed hexatia.com, which should be a live website, what you do is you migrate the announcement from hexatia.com to the blog of hostmaria.com. I assume you have a blog. If you don't, you should create one. Let's say you have a category in the blog which says news, like a news category, like all companies have a news category. And in the news category, you copy and paste the exact same press release, and you make it like the press release that had to be published on hexatia.com. It has to be like a press release with the date and the announcement. Like, you bought a domain name, that's an asset. And you're basically telling the world that I bought this domain name. Now, you take the same press release and you publish it on your website's blog. And what you do next is you create a 301 redirect at the htaccess level on your server, pointing hexatia.com to hostmaria.com/blog/news. We've acquired hexatia.com.
Oh, okay.
And what happens now?
Where is my bell?
And what happens now, all visitors, and let's say,
that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. That's good.
And now imagine, like I've mentioned the lazy one. So beginners, in an attempt to do it faster, would redirect hexatia.com to the homepage. And imagine hexatia.com, I think it was a different, like a security-related blog, but imagine it was a dedicated server-related blog. Now they search for Hexatia and they end up Host Maria. It's confusing. It's a bad user experience. The bounce rate is high. It confuses Google. It confuses the visitors. Now you're pointing them to a page that makes complete sense.
Absolutely. And for a visitor, that's That's a
Yeah,
perfect
and
solution.
both for
Yes.
users. So if users can figure out what happened, so does Google. And guess what? All the backlinks, all those 146, unique referring domain names, which are very valuable, and all those 13 authority links, which have cost you thousands of dollars, of tens of thousands of dollars to get in the first place, they're now pointing through that 301 permanent redirect to that announcement. And if you have a properly structured website with a footer menu and top nav menu, now through that particular page, which makes all the sense in the world, again, for both crawlers and visitors, you're juicing up with all these incoming links your entire website. And the backlink popularity, like if you check Ahrefs in a week, you will see the backlinks of the website, like the total number of referring domain exponentially growing because of this redirect. And this is a strategic means to use former age domains of your competitors, and it can be applied to absolutely any industry, from hosting to real estate to domaining to your local fitness club that your competitor might had back in the days.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Anything.
Yeah.
So we recently had a case when a web designing company bought a web design domain, and they did the same, and they started generating leads that would bring them lots of business through that redirect. So it really depends on how targeted the redirect is. So in your case, if you're going after hosting related domains, like you may not be necessarily interested in the name value of that hosting related domain rather than the backlink value and all the intrinsic value of the former brand. Maybe they had clients and visitors who might have known them and they want to resubscribe to their services, they want to buy their hosting, or most of the cases, you will just benefit from the SEO outcome of this strategy. So the redirect strategy is basically it's a matchmaking game. It's like the Tinder for SEO domain names.
Okay, Alex, quick technical question. So blogs are usually put on subdomains, yes? Usually
not
people have their
necessarily.
company websites and their blogs are created on subdomains. I haven't followed up the SEO industry for that deep for a couple of years at least. Just here, there are search engine land and some podcasts and stuff like that. Do the subdomains pass the link value?
Not really. They're treated as separate websites.
Yes.
That's why, for instance, if you have like blog.hostmaria.com, I'd recommend to move it to 301 redirected to hostmaria.com/blog. That's because that's going to help the overall authority of the main domain, whereas the subdomain will be interpreted as a domain name of its own.
I see. Yeah. Oh, in our case, I did kill the blog. I'm a big fan of community created content, and instead we have Maria.zone, a forum for all our products. For Host Maria, Maria Buy Marketplace, Maria Coin, and all that other good stuff. Category for this, category for that, category, all in one place for the whole community. But I love the idea, really, not the idea, the practice. Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Really
I'm featuring a wine domain, since I believe Sam mentioned. So this is a wine domain, stackedwine.com. It's a relatively cool name, but let's say you have a winery. Let's say you have a wine shop, and wine shop owners would probably have to stack lots of wine domains with good incoming backlinks pointing there. So you can see this one has been featured in Fox News, some Australian websites, The Atlantic, Self.com, Treadhunter. So lots of high authority web backlinks in this one, over 134. And I think we have like an issue on the back end that's not displaying all links right now, but there are many more of that. So I don't think I can use Chrome to log into my Ahrefs account right now, but any of these domains have many more links than we're able to display right now, but it will be solved in the upcoming days. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Fantastic. Wow.
I told you he can. If you get him started on domain names, that's it. There's no stopping to it.
Alex, why haven't I heard of Odys? And what is the meaning of Odys?
That's a funny story, because when I'm a big fan of coming up with brand names and just coming up with company names, like all the companies that I had or somehow contributed to, they mostly ended up with the names that I've picked. So initially when we launched, we didn't have a name, and I said, well, I came up with this idea that our domains or the domains that we own are somehow your SEO strategy. So our domains, your SEO. So we came in ODYS, our domains, your SEO. And we went like, all right, so is it a global company or are we going to our specific market? No, it's a global company because we sell to anyone, from Northern America to Southeast Asia. Like we have buyers all over the place. So it's a global. So let's go for .global. Like, can we get the .com? No, he's not replying. He's not replying. Let's go after .global. So we ended up with Odys.global. We've trademarked the name. We trademarked Odys. There are lots of other brands like that. Like there are hotels. There is a German brand that makes electric scooters that is Odys. But we ended up like doing business separately, and they let us register the trademark. We're a domaining company. We have no interest in making electrical scooters. And there are also other Odys trademarks. And then it ended up going in the direction of our domain, your story, our domain, your success. Then it can also be interpreted as, the Odyssey, your digital Odyssey. So basically, sky's the limit. There are so many interpretations. And the brand is somehow cool. So I said, yes,
cool.
We might not be able to get the .com anytime soon, but at least we have a vision and a story behind the brand.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. And how long have you had the marketplace?
The marketplace was first launched, actually, like archive.org is your best friend. In fact, I recommend anyone who's getting started with due diligence to actively use archive.org. That's because sometimes you will discover so many interesting things about a website. I assume Vladimir, if you want to know how Host Maria looked like 2 years ago, you could go to archive.org and see how it evolved, like the website itself.
Very similar.
Yeah, very similar. The first website, the first marketplace was launched in early 2019.
Okay.
But before that, I had a huge network. I still have it in my Skype account, which we used to trade domains, buy and sell domains. And that when we launched, I somehow onboarded all those people to the marketplace. And then we started advertising and we started spreading the word. And since the background of this type of domains is mainly SEO, so we've sold NY Lawyer, which is NY New York Lawyer, nylawyer.com,
Yeah.
I think last month for $40,000. That was the domain that was resold, which Vladimir said. Okay. So we initially owned it. So we bought it from a company. We owned it. We sold it. The buyer then changed his mind. He wanted to create a lead generation website for his friend who happens to be a famous New York lawyer. And that's probably the best name. If you're a lawyer in New York, either it's New York Lawyer or NY Lawyer.
Yes.
That's probably the best name you can have. And he changed his mind and he decided to resell it. He bought it for 30,000, I think. He sold it for 40, so made some money there. Anyway, the new owner is yet another famous New York lawyer. And the funny thing is, he bought it via an agency, but he paid with his own credit card. But he did that because he got sold on all the referring domains and the backlink profile of that domain. So he saw lots of high authority, unique legal websites in US that are linking to his asset now. And there is no way on earth that he could organically harness links of his competitors. So so you have lawyers who basically know very little about the domaining industry, about SEO, about organic rankings, getting traffic, marketing, developing an awareness of what these domains can do. Now, I'm not sure what they have done with the domain. I know they wanted to redirect it to his website or build a lead generation website. I'm not sure, but it's one of the sales that had happened. And I see more and more people involved. So it's more like the reason we haven't heard about us is because we are more popular in the SEO and marketing world rather than the domaining world. And I've told Vladimir, like, listen, we should start traveling to more domain conventions and events and forums and start talking to registrar companies.
London Domain Summit, yes.
Yeah, we have to develop, we have to start building relationship in the traditional domaining space as well, because most of the times we still need inventory, and inventory is our main constraint. So right now I have lots of buyers for coffee domains. I have lots of buyers for CBD domains, hosting domains, like any scarce need finance domains, housing. We don't have any. There aren't any domains that are good and meet our due diligence criteria. So we're working with private investors, companies, portfolio owners. But the acceptance rate is very small because we are mainly interested in domains which have a backlink profile. So if you happen to own 10,000 domains, most likely only 1% of those will end up being reviewed because the rest simply do not have the backlink mass.
Okay, and what are the minimum requirements for domain name to pass your test?
Well, obviously the due diligence
more or less.
Yeah,
of
so
course, you would make
obviously
it original.
we're interested in clean domain names. So they have to pass our due diligence. So this means no spam, no trademarks, no abuse. They have to be indexed, all the good parts. And then we're looking at a reasonable amount. That's how we name it, a reasonable amount of high authority backlinks. So there should be something for us to display in that solo system
Okay.
So there should be something there that the buyer would look and say, there is value in that. Like if it doesn't have links or it just have one backlink, well, I can get that link myself. Like why would you, specifically you, buy a hosting related domain name that has like 3 links? It doesn't make sense. If it has 100 unique links, well, there's lots of value in that. So we think about from a business perspective, like what domain names would make sense for business owners to use as a means of growth. Like I view, like even the redirect strategy that I've described earlier, I view it as the same means of growth as running pay-per-click ads. In fact, sometimes running pay-per-click ads may not be as effective as doing a 301 redirect if you can find the right domain name.
What about Odys? What have you done for Odys?
We have redirected in terms of redirects. Yeah.
Yes,
so we bought a competitor, for instance, if you go to juicemarket.com. So juicemarket.com is a competitor. They try to compete. They try to build a 2-sides marketplace for age domains. So anyone watching or even you, they can go to juicemarket.com and it will point to a very specific landing page that says, we've acquired juicemarket.com and we've started to work with their team. So, and this redirect sent us all the backlink profile JuiceMarket had and the intrinsic value, and it also keeps sending us new members. I think we're getting signups occasionally from their marketplace.
Yep. Yeah, from time to time.
Nice.
I think we also bought, and I'm talking strictly about domain names with SEO value that we've redirected into Odys. So I'm not sure how many Nassim Nicholas Taleb viewers we have or readers we have here, but
okay, Black Swan. Yes.
Don't tell me what to invest in. Tell me what's in your portfolio. So I'm telling what's in my portfolio.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, skin in the game. That's the new one. That is why Alex knows the word really well. I was a bit. Yes, it did trigger me.
So
recently,
I won't tell you what to invest in.
Yes.
I'll tell you what we did. So we bought domain name Roundtable. I believe that was a former domain of US domaining event, and it had links from some of the best domaining websites in the industry, like DN Forum, I believe, lots of domaining name websites. Domain name Roundtable, not a big name, but
beautiful name.
Domain name. I mean, it's not domain.com or domaininvesting.com, but still it's a relatively good name. But we bought it for the name for the link value, and we've redirected it to our website. And we have quite a few other websites that we've redirected. We own agedomain.com. agedomains.com, we own premiumagedomain.com, we own affiliatewebsites.com, biowebsite.com, lots of websites that somehow...
Can I ask you, please, sure. What would be the name if I wanted to sell dnforum.com only?
Yeah.
Can you share your screen and show us? And you can actually open Safari and share Safari window on the screen. I would be really curious. I'm not selling DN Forum. I'm absolutely not selling DN Forum. Yeah. But I definitely know the price. I paid for it. So I would be curious.
I don't think I have to open in order to evaluate the domain name. So
established 2001.
Yeah, it's not about the age. So right now, like I've been working for the past month on a new means to evaluate and price domains in our marketplace. And it's just not for the marketplace. I think I'll blog about it and I'll even record a video. It's for the entire industry of age domain names, because there should be some fairness in the way we evaluate and price domains, because you can price DN Forum for, let's say, $5 million. Now, obviously, you are emotionally attached to domain. That's your baby.
Of course.
You don't want to sell it. At the same time, there should be like a means to evaluate the domain name based on fair market price.
Yes.
And we use three main components when evaluating an asset, which is a domain name that also has name value or link value. First of all is the name value. Obviously, you can, like, if it was dn.com, that's a different story. If it's like domainname.com, that's a different story. dn.com is a combination. So we use all sorts of, let's say, pricing for domain names like oneword.com and then onewordnone.com and then for ccTLDs.
Okay.
So it gets complicated. For instance, if we're talking about replaceable inventory is a domain name. So you can have, let's say, dogcare.com and then care.dog.com. So it's pretty much replaceable. Elliot Silver from Domain Investor keeps talking about replaceable inventory. So I'd say we usually start, if like it's a 2words.com, we'd start with at least $3,000 just for the name. Depends on the niche. Solarenergy.com, 175K, right? Because it's solar energy, right? So I think we had Lucid Energy, we had Wind Energy, we had similar domain names.
Yes.
These are scarce niches. Now, when it comes, so let's say for your name, I'd say at least, given the industry, given that it's a domain name for domainers, I'd say let's start at $25,000 just for the name.
Okay.
Somewhere around that. Now, let's assume it has 100 unique referring domain names. We thought it would be fair to price one unique referred domain name for about $10. And the reason $10 is fair is because the domain name can have a New York Times links that would probably cost hundreds of thousands, and it might have some directory links which cost nothing. And then we came up with an average. Also, an average price of a link, if you were to register to hire an SEO agency, would be around $200. So we're trying to keep it very affordable, at the same time, give it a feeling of intrinsic value. So if your website or domain name had 100 links, we'd price it at $1,000 for the link value. It had 1,000 referring domain names, we'd price it at $10,000, just the link value.
Okay, so $10 per decent backlink.
Yeah, so if you were to sell the domain name, we'll sell, well, and the third element is scarcity. Well, how unique is the domain name? And obviously that scarcity can contribute, it can add up. Also, let's say you have cbd.com, which obviously CBD and anything cannabis CBD, like it's a huge domain name.
Yes,
like the price per link for a CBD in the CBD industry, let's say it's not 200, it's 500, in which case you can price a unique referring domain at $20, not $10. And so if I were to evaluate, I'd say, let's give it at least $25,000 for the name value. And let's say if it had 1,000 unique referring domains, another $10,000 for the link value. Now, obviously, it really depends how attached you are to the domain. If you view it as a liquid asset that you want to sell, you'll be able to sell it at 35,000, maybe more, maybe less, maybe someone will make an offer, but it really depends on, so that's why I say like emotional attachment to domains end up making the marketplace go all over the place. So you'll have people who are especially old school guys like .com is king and they have a oneword.com and they will price it at $500,000 and will never sell it. But my goal is to have at least some kind of fairness in pricing and say, look, there is value in links and this is how much we think it costs. Look, there is value in name. This is how much we think it costs. So for NY Lawyer, if it was like, let's say, best NY Lawyer, it could be a completely different game. Completely different game. Completely different game.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. What would be some SEO domain? Let me a selfish question.
Yeah.
So I have closed down my blog, and instead I've created a forum, and the forum is on a different domain name. What would you do to pass that link juice to the main site?
Well, forums aren't that great in terms of SEO.
Oh, forums are fantastic. If you do the SEO properly,
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, maybe I'm not that good at forums. That's because it's user-generated content. But with user-generated content, you cannot, let's say, you cannot get the same results as you would be able with a content blog. And let me give you an example. So Ahrefs.com is a private company.
Yes.
They don't share much of their data. 5 years ago, I think they were making around $75 million a year. in subscription for their services. That was like 3 to 5 years ago.
Yes.
70% of their traffic is organic, and it comes through their blog. Obviously, they're an SEO company. They're a big data SEO company. So they put so much emphasis on the blog. Now, obviously, they're SEO experts. They know what to do. But content creation and specifically optimizing your blog and creating content around the services that you provide is probably the best strategy you can. Now, obviously, for some industries which are more community-driven, SEO forums can work really well.
But blogs are fantastic as well. I do agree. Blogs are fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, but content, especially in a content creation and in a content creation world where everyone is creating. This live stream is content. Your blog is content. Vladimir is creating content on a daily basis, through his live stream and podcast, and then repurposing content.
Yes.
I'd highly recommend even looking into repurposing the live stream content if you save them. Create TikToks, create YouTube Shorts, use them to expand your reach. There are so many opportunities, and with content blogs, it's exactly the same. It's just another means to get traffic, and it's a huge means to get traffic. So any brand out there, any business out there should invest a lot in their content, and not just content for the sake of content, but helpful content that answers questions. And I believe that's huge. Like I've been a fan of forums back in the days, but I haven't touched forums for a long period of time. So what I don't know, I won't talk about.
No, that's great. I have my own samples. I do know there is stockings world, and the leader in the stockings world is getting 60% of their traffic just because they have a forum.
Yep.
And that forum pulls in traffic, and there are many samples like that. And of course, but there are many more good blogs than good forums. Therefore, blogs are winning.
Yeah.
Yes, but I do absolutely love it. Yes, fantastic. So Odys.global.
That's the website. Yeah.
And thank you. And now this is absolutely perfect. Maybe something else for the last thing, maybe a little SEO secret or something you have discovered, and a little trick you are still using.
Well,
maybe one of each. First Alex and then Vlad.
Yep. I've suggested Vladimir to rebrand Odys, our YouTube channel, to Odys.tv. By the way, we own Odys.tv. We own a lot of Odys CCTODs, but not the .com.
Okay.
So Odys.tv would probably start pointing to our YouTube channel anytime soon. Look, Vladimir will probably tell you more about how to creatively repurpose content and expand your reach, even for your own business. But most of our buyers are buying domain names. So Odys is in between two worlds. So the traditional domaining world, which is after good names. We have some of those, but that's not the main focus. Like NY Lawyer, great name, great, we had it. If it was best NY Lawyer, they would still get it, maybe not pay that much because there was less name value, but they were still after the links. I think 301 redirects, and we call them, the method I have described is called the merger and acquisition method. That's because if you were to buy Odys, or if I were to buy your company, I would probably do the exact same thing with the website, unless I want to keep it operating as a separate entity, as a separate business unit, right? So if I provide hosting and I'd buy your company, I'd probably redirect your website to my hosting page, or just I do the similar announcement. So this is called the merger acquisition. This is what companies use on a daily basis. It's not by any means a trick or a hack. It's how the web operates. That's why the HTTP protocol 301 was created in the first place. Something has permanently moved. So I think that is a strategy that very few people use for their businesses. I won't even go into any other strategies. I just put more emphasis on it. I believe it's really, really powerful. One of the recent success stories we had is we have this client that he operates a lawn care business in US, and he was searching for lawn care related domains, and we don't have any. And he said, what is the closest niche I can use for my business? Like he sells a course, how to take care of your lawn.
Yes.
He has an e-commerce. Well, he sells all sorts of insecticides and pesticides and weed killers, right?
Absolutely.
He has an e-com, and he also, I think he reviews affiliate programs, but like a full-fledged business. And we couldn't find a lawn care domain for him. And we suggested him an environment-related domain. And we creatively tweaked the content and the redirect. And his traffic has absolutely gone through the roof because the environment-related domain had links from probably the top 10 highest authority websites on the web, like from The Guardian, BBC, New York Times, all these big boys.
Oh, yes.
And he harnessed, and the way we tweak the content is, well, his lawn care business has acquired this environment-related domains because all the products they sell are eco-friendly. He cares about the environment. Therefore, they made the acquisition to raise awareness. So he creatively repurposed the content, but he didn't repurpose. He just maneuvered the content, so to speak, to his blog, and he harnessed all the backlink profile. And he came back for more. He bought more domains which are related both to his business since then, because it's a tactic that works. It's a tactic that makes sense. And just like in sales, if you have a good close that works, why would you use 100? So I won't share 100 tricks. I'll tell you just one. Look into 301 redirects from domain names.
That's good. No, that's seriously good. That's seriously good.
Look for domain names that have SEO value and have intrinsic value. And one of the best parts of being able to assess the age and SEO value of a domain name, it gives you more perspective into potential uses. And yeah, to everyone who will be watching this live stream now and in the future, try to develop an awareness because the search industry is growing. And I believe, and I'm constantly trying to educate SEOs on the domaining part of the industry. And I'm trying every single time I get the chance to talk to traditional domainers, I'm telling them, like, look into the SEO part of domains you're missing. Sometimes you will see gibberish domain names at GoDaddy auctions going for $50K, for close to $100,000. And why in the world would a gibberish domain name that makes very little sense sell for so much? Well, you should have checked Ahrefs. That's because they have 10,000 authority links, which have cost you maybe $2 million to buy if you would hire an agency, and you can get that for 1/10 of a price. So there is a market for that for sure.
Fantastic. What about you, Vladimir? Thank you, Alex.
Well, as Alex mentioned, I would talk more about content and creation, repurposing, and one of the things I've basically started adopting lately is incorporating AI into content, especially content repurposing. So, yeah, if I hadn't switched to podcasting and live streaming, I would have probably started incorporating it into content writing in one way or another, like structuring or outlining, all of that kind of stuff. But right now, so once we started doing live streams, we figured that we should repurpose the content and use it on other platforms as well. On YouTube as well, for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, all over the place. And once we started doing it, we started repurposing the content manually, just basically downloading all the video tracks, cutting them into clips, editing out unnecessary stuff to create like a 30-second clip, you know? And then out of the nowhere, I found out about this tool, Opus.pro, and you just upload the video. You can feed it a link from YouTube, or you can upload the video file from your computer. Just leave it.
What is the name? Opus Pro?
Opus Pro, yes.
Opus Pro.
And then you leave it for like 15 to 30 minutes to 40 minutes, depending on the overall demand on the platform. And it cuts amazing short clips. You can you can limit it to particular keywords, topics, and it will look for those in the video.
So it reads. So it listens to the language. It transcribes the text. Then it finds the keywords.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, okay. And it does amazing work. I mean, from the last live stream from the last week, it generated I think 30 short clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we will not use all of them, but there are some really like literal gems in there, and so, and this is one of the topics constantly brought up during live streams, like incorporating AI into workflow for streamlining the workflow, cutting the costs, and upscaling the content quality and output and things. So I just recently realized that I've been doing it for a while without understanding that I've already incorporated it into my workflow and optimized a lot of things. So yeah, even though it might seem that this advent of AI starts taking away someone's jobs, the best thing you could do is just to go with the flow and try to just take advantage of it in whatever you do. And this is my, I don't know, takeaway hack.
Awesome. By the way, guys, do you know AppSumo? AppSumo.com?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, really? That is number one probably place in the world as a marketplace for new software to be bought. Mostly lifetime deals are available for limited time. Once people or companies release their first MVP product, they need to get their first users, and then they would go to different communities to gain their to get the users. And AppSumo has got this awesome deal with the social. Check it, please check it out. Tier 3, and I've got so much software, and we all know those monthly bills can destroy you.
Yep.
You need to restrict yourself. Therefore, lifetime deals are fantastic. Many of those, like lots of those software just die. Normally, they don't get enough traction. They don't make any money, and they just drop dead. But some of them definitely go on, and Vista Social looks really, really, really good.
Yeah,
and their deal will be ending. Their deal will be ending in 3 days or something. So I just discovered it maybe 2 weeks ago. I was posting short videos, me myself. So I made a mission for myself before the London Domain Summit to post one short video a day. Just 1 month before, we need to start going broad. In the beginning, I was doing sniper shots, making individual calls and stuff like that, and now going straight. And then I was publishing the shorts at Reddit, YouTube, at YouTube and Facebook, probably Facebook page as well. And that was it. I couldn't be bothered to work on the computer on TikTok or Instagram. This stuff allows to connect lots and lots of accounts. Just take the tier 3. Just take my advance. Take my suggestion. And also you have 60 day time when you can get your money back. Absolutely fantastic. You will love it.
I don't have a bell, but that's ring.
Vista Social, I've got no affiliation. I can give you a referral link, but I will leave it just to you. AppSumo.com, fantastic marketplace. It is a place where I sold
AppSumo.
myself. Yes, a while ago they did allow hosting companies to be listed there, and Host Marie was one of the first ones that got accepted there. We did pass the tests, and there were lots of quality tests, and we passed it. And I sold over 10,000 offers.
Awesome.
So I gained lots of users, the first users. So to get proper stress test, you need lots of users, initial users. You, Alex, know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh God, everything breaks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. That's a great tip. I'm not sure if you're doing. I add up to what Vladimir said. That's lots of value in repurposing
I love
content.
it.
So,
Yes,
for instance,
yes,
you could
I will
take this live stream, download it, and you could have. I think it's a pretty long live stream, like 1.5 hours. I think you could have at least 20, 30 quality with both, subtitles, live stream that you can upload to your TikTok, to your shorts, to your reels, to your Instagram. That's just huge. And in the, this attention span economy, like there are people who listen to the podcast or to this live stream,
oh yes,
and they enjoy it. But me myself, I very rarely recently find time. So I go on someone's live stream, I do podcasts, but I don't listen to them. I don't have time. So, but I do watch the shorts. So Vladimir does the shorts, and after the podcast or after the live stream, I do watch my own shorts and his shorts. I do have to.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's an easier way to actually, get that information, assimilate that information, rather than watching the full clips. And I would highly recommend following Vladimir's advice on repurposing content. You can simultaneously grow audience in channels that, I don't know if too many hosting companies have a TikTok channel, but I believe because it's the same people that you get via your YouTube live stream, they're also using TikTok. Everyone uses TikTok, for instance. I'm not a big fan of TikTok, but if I can get market share from TikTok and, get more market, then why not? Even better if I can use the exact same content without, watching more, then why not?
TikTok has got this very specific age group, though. Have you heard that there were statistics last week released that for 15-year-old ones, TikTok is number one place where they find news, where they read news.
Really?
TikTok is actually the place where they get news.
Interesting.
Or where they look for news.
Interesting.
We
had someone willing to buy a domain name, and he was asking for a discount, and we provided the discount. And he had 40,000 followers TikTok channel, and he's an SEO. He's into SEO. He does these SEO short clips, and he promoted Odys. And I believe we got lots of signups from there. I'm not sure if you approved all of them, but we got lots of signups.
Wow.
So then I realized, like, everyone's on TikTok. And those people who, so it made sense. And as of recently, I've discovered lots of people from all over the place in the industry. I'm not sure about the domaining industry, but in the SEO industry, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of big TikTok channels where people talk about, like small, like business advice, like SEO advice, like how should you optimize your page, why you should avoid like mistake, and that is content that is consumed on a daily basis. So, yeah, in an attention economy, you have to be everywhere.
You are absolutely right. On this beautiful note, thank you, Alex, and thank you, Vladimir. And huge thanks to Tess Diaz. She's a star in the main name industry, like a titan, and for telling me, hey, Helmut, you should look into these guys. They are really good. Yes,
thank you for inviting us. Thank you for having us, Helmuts.
Absolutely,
it's been a pleasure. One of the best live streams I've been on recently. Really, really cool setup. Thanks, Vladimir, for making it happen. Vladimir is making all the moves on the partnership side of things recently. I would have not been that efficient without Vladimir. And thanks for Tess. Obviously, we talked to them. We tried to even strike a partnership. They said they don't have too much aged inventory yet, but as more domains or subdomains get registered, they will most likely end up with inventory. With the IT.com, I mean,
Alex, it is very simple.
We're still in talks.
Alex, it is very simple. If you want that partnership, come on, just fly over to London.
Yeah,
your Estonian SEO days are in the middle of 12th and 13th. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's 16th through 18th.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then the next week, 22nd, 23rd, London.
Look, Helmuts, I'm a big believer in your network being your network, and we went through some corporate restructuring this summer, and we're almost done. We'll be more proactive at attending events and meeting people, building relationships. I look forward maybe next year even sponsoring your event, not only attending it.
Fantastic.
We're looking forward. So yeah, definitely a good way to start this relationship.
This is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Thank you, guys. And it was an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Same here.
Cheers. Bye-bye.